Good evening. Thank you for joining us for the May 24th Board of Selectmen's meeting. If everybody would rise for the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For announcements this evening, the Cemetery Committee is looking for volunteers to help in maintenance of the veterans' grave sites. Anyone that's interested can contact the town for an application or visit the town's website and get on the Cemetery Committee. First, we start off with an appointment at 6 p.m. Todd Abbott, ATV Club Municipal Grant Application.
Good evening. Again, Todd Abbott from the Ospey Mountain ATVers. I'll just give you this folder here. And basically, you guys, I believe, have gotten a copy of the municipal application. Basically, this is a project certification, which you guys already had a copy of. And then basically what would follow would be our project description, costs listed out, and then the following agreements made between the state of Maine and the municipality. These last two copies need to be signed off by the chairperson. The first one is basically saying that it's 70% is the payback that the state will pay, and then the secondary copy here is basically describing the total that we're requesting, and these two other figures at the bottom are the club maintenance for the year ensuing. So we don't lose our grant money for the year.
Yep.
We can plug that figure into there.
So the total grant is $196,640.
Correct. And $9,000 of that is our normal trail maintenance funding. $187,640 is the total project cost. And again, that's our application. Doesn't mean that that'll be the total dollar amount.
Yep.
So
They may only say 100,000 or.
absolutely, but we are the only club that's applying for that grant for this pole line trail. Southern Maine ATV Club has been applying for it in Hollis. Hollis is done on their end, and Lebanon, they decided not to pursue this year and try and focus on connecting Waterboro to Lebanon from our side. So hopefully we'll get the.
Todd, is this just our signing here, does this show that we support the grant, or is it actually being run through the town?
It's run through the town because of being a municipal grant, okay? So the process will be, assuming that you guys will sign off on it, okay, the process will be the ATV club, or I will be the project manager. I will get all of the billing from the contractors and so forth. I'll come once or twice a month to the town office and give those bills to the town office. And the town will just have to put that on their letterhead, mail that copy into the state. The state will reimburse the town for the total dollar amount, what the invoices were, and then the town would have to cut the ATV club a check, and then we would take care of disbursement for the invoices that we'd receive.
Ultimately, though, the town is going to be responsible for the final report through you.
Through us, correct. In a sense, the town of Waterboro is hiring me, as the ATV club, as the contractor to run this municipal grant for you. There will be no costs associated to the town other than the fact that you will have to have, once or twice a month, somebody sending a letter off to the state and then somebody getting us a check.
And so, providing we all sign this, we're going to want to see you on a fairly regular basis to make sure that everything's in order here.
Absolutely, and Tom and I have talked, and pending the approval from the state, Tom and I will be talking on a regular basis, and obviously we can set something up if you want to have a bi-monthly meeting to bring you up to speed as far as where we're at and all of that. But traditionally, the clubs that have gone for the grants, they've kind of gone at it throughout the whole summer. And I would like to pursue this as a much more speedy fashion. I'd like to have the trails be ready by the fall so that we can ride. You know, in trail construction, we're going to have the trails closed during that construction and also for a period of probably a month or 2 months afterwards until the vegetation grows in and, you know, protects the, you know, the environment around the trail system, so.
Now, Todd, you last week said there's a lot of wet areas that are involved. Are you going to be contracting out? In other words, some contractors are going to come in and do the work that you need, or is the club doing this himself, or how's?
No, I mean, the club is going to do as much work as we can because that's how we're going to get our 30% back, okay? It's a 70-30 split, so we're going to do as much man labor hours as we can. We'll probably take care of some of the brush hogging and that type of thing. But we ultimately need to create that other 30% so that we equal the total dollar amount. The larger projects, we have no interest in getting involved with DEP or any of that stuff. You know, Brian Bronson, the head of the ATV program, is aware of the wet areas and has talked to DEP, and they're still, you know, with the governor changing and some of those positions changing, you know, some of this information is changing, you know, so I don't have a lot of information other than the fact that Brian Bronson is going to be pulling the permits, whatever is going to be needed for DEP, and they're putting one man on the site during all construction project. So it's kind of something that's happened over the course of time. You know, they've had monies dumped into this project, and now they're starting to, with budget crunches and all of that, they're starting to get a little bit more pinch on how they're spending the money, where they're spending the money, so they're going to put a project manager right on the project, and we're also going to have a CMP representative that we're going to have to pay to be on that site as well. So the project from where it was 2 years ago is going to be a lot more strict as far as guidelines and how we're going to have to pursue the project. So.
Did I hear you correctly saying that you'd bring in the invoices and the town would submit them for reimbursement?
Yeah, the town is the avenue.
Okay, I understand that. Does that mean that the town is fronting the money to pay the vendor?
No.
And then we're getting the reimbursement?
No. What we will do is the contractors will know that they've got a 30-day window, okay? So a contractor will submit us an invoice, and I'd like to set it up so we do it maybe every 2 weeks. We'll see how it goes, you know, I mean, there might be a wet week when we can't work or anything like that, but basically, we're gonna take the bills from the contractor, submit them to the town. Those will go to the state will cut the check, and then we'll reimburse the contractor. So in a sense, the contractor is the one that's floating the money for the 30 days.
Now, will the grant funds come into the town, and we put them in an account, and we draw them out of that account and and give you feedback as to where you are in that?
I mean, you can do that. I mean, ultimately, we're trying to make it as simple as possible, and basically have an account that money can go into and back out of. You know, I don't know that I want to burden the town with having to pay each contractor for each one of those invoices. If that's the way that it needs to be set up, I don't see that you couldn't do it that way. But
I think Nancy would. My concern is don't want to burden the town with that. On the other hand, we want to have control, so we want to make absolutely sure there's no over expenditure of funds there, and the town is liable for over expenditure. We can't do that.
right, absolutely, and I don't believe that I mean, yeah, we can have a contractor over expend, but ultimately, my name is the project manager, and I'm not going to want to over expend anything there, you know. And ultimately, you provide me with the tool that you want me to use. If it's Tom, if it's Nancy, we can do that. And me coming in on a 2 week, every 2 weeks or whatever during the project, I have no problem with that, and letting you know where we're at, what we're spending, what we intend to incur for costs for the next couple of weeks.
Well, it seems, I mean, the way you explain it, you send the invoice to us, we sign off and send it to the state. I mean, do you have a lot of faith the state's going to send a check back in 2 weeks?
In the past, it has come that way.
Has it?
Yeah. You know, some of the towns, they're only doing it once a month. Sometimes they do it, you know, twice a month. It really depends on the dollar amount, I think, that you've got out there. You know, if we hired a contractor for a 2-week period and we run a bill of $50,000, you know, that contractor is gonna wanna get paid, so we're probably gonna try and submit that on a every 2 week. You know, but as things kinda string out, I mean, the club also has money as well. Not that we've got $50,000 to, you know, to front, but, you know, for smaller things, we can, you know, we can pay some of those upfront costs, you know. It is the municipality that is applying for the grant. And it's the ATV club that's coming to you and asking for your support in continuing that trail or to upgrade that trail for economic development and, you know, the use of recreation here.
Well, if the municipality is sending in for the grant, then the check is gonna be made out to the most likely.
Absolutely. So
Okay.
what's going to happen, you know, or the way that I've been explained to it from other towns, at least Hollis and Lebanon, is, I guess my most experience is with the town of Lebanon. Ed Coleman has submitted, at the end of the month, an invoice stating, you know, the excavating contractor was $10,000. We had this $20,000 in materials. We had $5,000 for bridge materials. He in turn takes that letter to the town of Lebanon, or I would send a document. That document in turn gets printed on town letterhead and gets sent off to the state of Maine. Brian Bronson will approve it, and they will send us a check. Or not us a check, they will send the town of Waterboro a check.
Ordinarily here, that a grant like this that needs some management, there's a management cost in there that it costs to do the paying of bills and so oftentimes there's a 5 or 10% cost here. Now I know the grant is written, but ordinarily, if I knew beforehand, I'd say that the town was doing this and it was a $200,000 grant, there probably should be a $10,000 cost to administer it. I don't know how other people feel about that, but we are incurring an expense to oversee this grant
Right.
and some liability.
The way the grant is presented is it's a projected cost, okay? So, you know, if the Board of Selectmen felt that it was a need to administer some costs, you know, to do that project, I think $10,000 is a little steep, but I'm not opposed to that, nor do I think that, you know, that the state would oppose to it. There is administrative costs in there. We filled it out as zero because it's application, permit fees, and that type of thing. But there's no reason that we couldn't fund something, I'm sure. But be aware that every dollar that gets spent, we need to match 30 cents on that dollar. You know, I mean, you're creating a work need, you know. So I guess,
I mean, federal grants, almost all federal, state grants too, you build in an administrative cost into that, and what that does is your treasurer and the time and effort that goes in there is paid for.
so if you want to come up with a figure for that,
I mean, if we're.
I mean, we're
I
talking the project is gonna run, you know, the application needs to be in by May 30th. Realistically, we're not probably gonna have any funding or a go-ahead or green light until, you know, July 1st.
Okay,
And then the grant needs to be closed by November.
okay. So
Under what I'm kind of looking at, I'm hoping that July, August, at the end of August, we'll be done with the project. So I'd say 2 months, call it 3 months, and say we meet, you know, I submit twice, so you got 6 times that you guys will have to submit documents to the state of Maine.
And,
you wanna
and
call, figure-
also pay contractors and
Well, they're not gonna have to pay the contractor,
why?
because you're gonna pay the ATV club, and the ATV club is gonna pay the contractor.
So, as we need to see your accounting to see that, because ultimately the town is responsible for this grant and the expenditures of this grant. So whether the town does it and oversees itself, or whether you do it, but then the town is still gonna have to sit down and oversee those books, and make sure that, because we're liable, and
Absolutely.
make sure
Once-
that everything
once the grant-
balances out.
Once the grant is approved, we'll know exactly what that total dollar amount is. You know, we're applying for $190,000 roughly, okay? They might come back at us at 125 or 100,000, maybe 150. So out of that 150, just like town budgeting, you're gonna take and relook at what you can spend for money, and you're gonna have to relook at that project and figure out what you're gonna do. You know, I mean,
Not huge amounts, but there's
no,
time
no,
and
no.
effort.
I can
here.
understand your point, and I completely agree with you, and then it needs to be some sort of balance. So you set the balance. I mean, if it needs to be, the project manager talks to the town administrator on a weekly basis during the project, then so be it. Or does the project manager talk to the town planner? I guess I understand what you're saying, and the town is ultimately responsible for it, but at the same time, it's a grant that the, you know, Department of Conservation has said, we approve $150,000 to be spent. So you have a green light to spend that amount of money. You know, we've listed the project, like I've stated, Department of Conservation is not going to allow any work to be done unless they're managing the project and knowing what's being spent.
Okay.
So, you know, Brian Bronson or his worker is not gonna, you know, let us exceed our dollar amount, you know, that needs to be spent.
Okay, I don't know that end of it. I think at the end, though, you're gonna need to write a summary report for the grant. And then in that summary report, here's a financial report, here's the money we took in, here's the money that's been spent, et cetera. So that they're gonna want that information, right?
They're gonna already have that information because they're gonna have the bills before they pay the money.
Okay. So I'm not sure I quite understand the finances of this, but,
The only thing for the finances that I guess that I would worry about is the fact that the town will have money coming into it that we'll need to go back out of.
yep.
So we need to make sure, however that is going to work, that it's set up properly so that we don't end up, you know, saying we got $150,000. The town of Waterboro takes $150,000 and I've spent $150,000 that I can't get out of the town of Waterboro. You know, from my perspective, that's, you know, it comes on to me and not getting paid from you, so.
I guess, Todd, I'm not trying to make this complicated, because I want this thing to go as simply and as easily as possible, but at the same time, what I want to be able to do is make sure that the town managing the money of this has some control over the final accounting of that money, since we're ultimately responsible.
Yeah, and I have no problem presenting.
I know with these grants, it's, once you spend the money, that's it. All they're gonna give you is $150,000, so that's all the town is gonna be responsible for, is $150,000, or, you know, whatever the grant amount
Correct.
is. If the ATV club goes out and spends $200,000, well, then the ATV club is on the hook for that other $50,000, not the town of Waterboro. The only piece of that pie that we own is the $150,000 or whatever the grant amount is.
And you're gonna be receiving a bill before that money gets paid out.
To me, it seems like for the purposes of ensuring that the vendors are paid quicker, I guess. I mean, I think I would prefer to see that the town directly pay the vendors. You know, we get the bill and then we cut the check to the vendors. I think that would be a little bit cleaner than
You'd
kind of
rather-
having that middleman.
And
But I
and
think
that's
ultimately,
fine.
I think
You're gonna have a more administrative costs.
yeah, I think ultimately it should be Nancy's decision on the best way, if we're gonna do this, to administer it. And I think, you know, that's an important piece in this. We need is Nancy's opinion on how this is going to work.
And Tom can give you a good handle on how this grant works. He's been He's been working with Todd, and he knows, working with state funding, how it has to be set up through the town.
I know a lot of the state funding, you have to have an electronic transfer. You have to have an account that goes into, and you give them the routing number, and it's a check, they just route it right to that account.
That's what we have now for all of the state revenues.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it doesn't matter how it works. We have to submit, any contractor that's over $5,000 has to be bid out. And like I said, the project has gotten a lot tighter, you know, in the past years because of, you know, we call it mismanagement or whatever. But, you know, the state of Maine definitely wants to manage this project. Ultimately, it's the municipality that's requesting it, but we're coming to you because it was a request from the Department of Conservation, you know, that this continue, so.
Now, the question that I have, and was asked of me this week, was there's 30% there that somebody's responsible for. You know, it looks like the town's responsible for it, but that's what the ATV club is providing, whether it's material, labor,
In-kind.
funds, whatever.
Right, and
There's that 30%. What's the guarantee to the town from the ATV club that you have that 30% available to you?
You revoke our lease.
But there's no, I mean, there's no money there for us.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, 30% can be made up with administrative time, you know, time, there's, you know, we put down a figure of 1,500 man-hours at $8 an
So
hour.
it's in-kind labor and...
In-kind labor, all of that stuff. And we have had contact with the snowmobile club members, and they're willing to donate some labor time as well. So, I mean, we do have a number of labor hours that are gonna be donated. We're obviously gonna be contacting our contractors and seeing if they're going to be able to donate any in-kind as well, you know. They might be able to donate 20%, you know, and now we're only down to 10%. But yeah, it's all going to be done either by contractor donations or working kind.
And the administrative costs that the town would have, you know, whether if the treasurer's maintaining, you know, cutting checks and it's taking her an hour, I'm assuming those administrative hours could also go towards the light kind.
If it was donated, yes. If it's a charge, no.
Tom, did you have something you wanted to briefly share with us?
First, special thanks to Todd and the club. This is a really important grant, and I'm not sure if these types of money is going to be around much longer. So the town has a good opportunity to cash in on it. Key things that were brought up tonight, just for a bit of clarification. First, the chair had made a suggestion or recommendation to the full board about how this money is processed internally. It is a municipal aid grant, so it would be easier to go back to John and David's question about the final accountability, the financial accountability, to cut checks directly to the vendors from here. And the simple reason for that is if an audit trail is necessary, that there's a paper trail there, and it's very easy to perform that final audit. The way things are going in Augusta, there's more and more audits that are required, and some of them are just automatic with every grant system. That's part of the closeout of the grant, is doing that audit trail. So everything that Todd said is absolutely true. I think mechanically, to make it work best for this type of grant system would be, because it has to be filtered through the treasurer's office. The documentation is critical, because then that makes the audit easier at the very end. And it makes it easier, as the chairwoman has recommended, processing it directly through the vendors.
And I've had to participate in those Department of Conservation audits, and I know the
Yes.
reams of paperwork that are required for those audits, so.
And I think overall, it adds to the simplification of the paperwork too. So, and the other thing that came up, maybe a monthly progress report, I think on all grant systems. I believe, David, you had recommended that on the energy grant. And I think that's healthy for the community to know where the progress is, even though this is a, you know, a short-termer.
So as far as if we do this in kind, your time, the treasurer's time, that all can be basically billed in in-kind money. So if we don't go through the whole thing of the town, of money coming into the town from this grant, we say, okay, the town benefits by this grant, and therefore we agree to in kind, then you keep track of your services, and we keep track of accounting services, and Todd can use that for part of his in kind.
He can use it as part of the 30%, again, as Todd has said, if it's donated as that 30%, rather than billable hours, it's donated to the club, and it can be used as part of that 30%.
I think what he's saying is just tracking your time.
Tracking is
so that
critical.
we can, when the final audit is done, it can show that this many hours, man-hours from the town was donated, you know, to this project. It's an accountability thing.
Absolutely.
Is it always around that?
And so, you know, when the time comes, once you know what the total grant amount is, there may be a revisiting of the project expenses if it's not just close to 200,000 as maybe 150 or 100,000. Then we'll know how to do the mechanics.
So is it your recommendation that we would move forward with this?
Proceed ahead, knowing that the town is the filter and the town is the money manager. And the town has the ultimate responsibility for financial responsibility at the end of the trail.
And Nancy, is this something that internally is manageable for us to handle? So would you feel comfortable with this? Are there any other questions of Todd or Tom?
And again, I have no problems the town running it, but I'm the project manager. How quickly, if I hire a contractor, what's my guarantee that my contractor is going to be paid?
What's, sorry, go ahead,
As long as
Dennis.
the money comes from the state, right? I mean, ultimately, that's the,
Right, and I don't want to get caught up in a thing where, you know, I'm a month and a half into something and I've got a contractor breathing down my neck because I owe him $75,000 and I can't find the right person at the town office or whatever. I mean, I don't know if there needs to be a timeline in there, as you know, a 30-day timeline. You know, I don't. You're protecting yourself. I want to try and protect myself. You know what I mean?
If we can, we'll use the most recent transfer from the state on the energy grant, and Nancy helped me with this on the timing. We received an invoice from LaSalle Architects. I, within 12 hours, gave it to Nancy, and then it went to the treasurer.
The following week.
The following week, it came back from the state, and then the following week after that, a check was cut for LaSalle Architects. So, sum total, 2.5, 3 weeks.
Yeah, about 3 weeks.
That looks like to be the normal turnaround.
really predicated on the state's response.
Absolutely.
So I think as long as we have the funds, we're not going to sit on it.
Right.
You know, we're going to pay it.
You know, the town of Hollis held money on the Hollis Club. So
Yeah, this looks like it's 6 weeks. If you're coming in every 2 weeks, you get 2 weeks there, and then there's the week turnaround at the state, and then it's 3 weeks here by the time we get the check back and to the treasurer, and then it looks like 6 weeks to me.
well,
Yeah, but once it starts going, it's a.
But yeah, with the process, it will just be ongoing.
The key will be picking a prescribed day of the week to have all of your contract bills so that it meets the town's deadline for getting on the weekly warrant, right?
Okay, so
That's the key.
now,
Yeah, I don't
would we
think
be
we're gonna,
treating
I
Todd
don't think
like-
we're gonna work out the details.
no,
Fine.
absolutely not. I'm just pointing out the fact that in some senses, we need to work out that fact, you know, the fact of how I'm gonna become the manager and make sure that the bills that we're gonna incur are going to be paid, that's all, so.
Well,
And
ultimately,
as long as
it's-
that's, you know, it's in kind, and, you know, I'm happy with that, I just wanted that to be a point of clarification.
I think, you know, ultimately, the bills are gonna be to the town of Waterboro because we're the ones that have the purse strings. And so if a contractor isn't getting paid, they're not gonna go screaming to the ATV club, they're gonna be coming screaming to the town because that's who's got their money.
And the invoices would not be paid until you have approved them.
Right. Right, because the invoices are gonna come from the ATV club in a sense.
Now, we would be treating Todd like we would a department head. He would sign off on the job that it's been finished, so that, for payment. So the bill comes in, she's gonna need to see you on a fairly regular basis. You sign off on it, it's been done, and we pay it.
Absolutely, and just like a construction loan would run, I don't intend on handing a contractor a check until I have the contractor's signature saying that they've been paid for that bill. You know?
I think your signature should appear on every bill that you submit to the town, so we know that you have seen it and that you approved it.
Absolutely.
And they have to be in by noon time on Fridays to be paid on the following warrant.
I mean, we could, again, logistics of it can be worked out later, assuming that we get approval. But, you know, I could do it in, you know, 2 Tuesdays a month. I could come in, submit the bills, give you a report, and go from there.
Anything else, questions? All right, thanks, Todd.
Cool, thank you.
Hearing and delegation, correspondence. In our packets, we have a letter from the Town of Hollis regarding the transfer station. We'll be discussing that a little bit later. Reports, Town Administrator's report.
The warrant is going to be posted, actually, I think Peter posted it today. I'm working on the handouts for a town meeting. I got a copy for you. I tried to put the warrant comparison all on one 8.5 by 11 sheet, but you couldn't read it. So I think we're going to have to go to the legal size. And what this does is comparison, the warrant to the last 2 years. I also had, and I had showed this previously, a chart on how our tax dollars are spent. And I am going to also do one. David's got to help me with the program. It seems to have a hiccup in it for the proposed tax rate. And both of these I can download into PowerPoint to add to the program. And on Thursday, MMA, Marcus Blue from MMA stopped by and presented us with a certificate for 13 years of continuous membership in the Maine Municipal Association Workers' Compensation Fund. So we have that. And just look over them and see what else you would like to have for a handout so we can get the packets all together.
All right, thanks. Selectmen's reports?
I was at a meeting this afternoon between 4 and 5 with the Partners for Healthy Communities. This is part of the Maine partnership, Healthy Maine Partnership, which is a part of the tobacco settlement. So there's 28 of these partnerships in Maine. We are one of them that's tied into the 6 communities that are tied in with SAU 57. We're going to be meeting every couple of weeks on the first and fourth Tuesdays of each, second and fourth Tuesdays of each week at the fire station at 5 o'clock. I just want to say that one of the things that this partnership is looking at, and it's really pretty simple, and it's a formula for healthy living for families. And it's called the 5210 plan. That if everybody eats 5 fruits and vegetables a day, and everybody keeps their passive recreation, which would be computer, television watching, et cetera, to 2 or under hours a day. And if people participated in exercise 1 hour or more per day and drank 0 sugared beverages, you would have healthier people. Less, it would be, families would be healthier, thinner, in better shape. And so that is one of the things that this group is going to be working with. And I'm going to be, I'm pretty excited about helping them too in Waterboro. So you're going to be hearing more about this.
David, anything?
I just wanted, last week we talked about salt. Has that anything been investigated in that cost?
The bid has gone out.
It has?
Yep.
Okay. Does the town owe Sebago Technics any money for this recent project? Has it
I
been paid in
haven't.
full or what?
I would have to look, I don't remember. I haven't seen an invoice for a long time. Have you seen one? I would have to check.
Could you
Hold
check on that? And did I hear you say that you're going to be calling Sebago Technics and try to set up something, meeting?
Mhm.
Okay,
Anything else, David?
no.
All right. Gordon? Dennis?
2020 committee met last week. Really need some volunteers, and I know the committee is out trying to stimulate some interest amongst their contacts and friends and whatnot. But if anybody's interested, we've got like 3 spots open for to go on to the 2020 committee if somebody's interested in the comprehensive planning of the town. So other than that, I think they're moving in the right direction. They're anxious to see what happens through town meeting with the budget requests. But
Okay. Thank you. Aaron, did you have anything you want to share with us tonight? Our rep, Aaron Libby, is here. He's been up in Augusta for the past 3, 4, 5 meetings or so.
There's been some double sessions starting really heavy now, and then also committee. It was at the ending of the committee was very hectic, wrapping up with the energy committee, and then we actually are meeting tomorrow. But then now session has been getting double, and now we have triple sessions going to be starting as well. So it's going to be pretty hectic. Just update on the excise tax change that was ought not to pass in the House. I had mixed feelings on it, obviously, because I really obviously like to give back taxes any time I can. A couple problems I had. One of the questions I at least raised was the idea: why isn't this more of a town decision, anyways? You know, why is the state deciding this? Because it would be an unfunded mandate had the state passed it. There's complications to it, as most things are. So, but that was one thing I did bring up that I thought was more of a town decision on it. But to me, it was an arbitrary number. If you were going to either do the MSRP, which I have a lot of problems with, or if you're going to do it actually at the sales price. Kind of, to me, it's either or. The discussion goes to one of those two, and then to pick a number in between that, to me, is just an arbitrary number that you're going to pull out of the air. To me, that just didn't make sense. So I voted not to pass on that. So did obviously not to vote against decreasing the tax, but to me, there was too many problems with it. So I did vote not to pass.
Well,
on that.
actually, you voted to save taxes because had
It was
that
unfunded
passed,
mandate.
had
Yes.
that passed, it would have just been passed along to
Yep,
the
an
local
unfunded.
taxpayer.
Yep. So on that, obviously a lot of talk on the health care reform, LD 1333. Very happy that it's moving towards the direction a lot of people want to be able to open up competition from other states, open up different plans so that people can choose which plan they like. Trying to spark up competition will help lower the rates on that. It conforms to the new Affordable Health Care Act with the bans and the pricing. A lot of different questions on that, and it's going to be coming back and forth. But
Why are the lawmakers exempt from having to pay the tax on that?
Yes and no. They were exempt because they were part of the state employees. And at the moment, to pass it, it was going to be complicated to get it out. But before that goes into effect, state legislators will be exempt, will be paying that $4 assessment. That was something I rose right off, because I don't actually participate in the health insurance there. I buy my own insurance, I don't participate in it. I put in a bill to remove all benefits for state legislators, because I don't think any part-time job should have benefits to it. So it's something I don't participate in, it's something that I've moved unsuccessfly to obviously get away, but it will be taken out. It's a complicated matter because they're part of state employees. And they're not going to exempt the state employees because they have a different plan altogether. But before this takes place, the state legislators will be paying that $4 as well.
With the, I don't know the name of the bill, but it concerns prescription drug cost and the limitations that pharmaceutical companies have to report what their costs are and stuff. Now, I believe the Page administration wants to do away with that, saying it is unnecessary regulation. But because the federal government is going to be taking care of it. The federal government has done nothing and probably won't for a couple of 3 or 4 years. So why is the legislature, why would somebody support doing away with regulation that is actually saving consumers money right now?
That hasn't come to the floor yet, so I haven't read on it yet. There was committee. I will look into that, and I'll get you an answer back on that. But at this moment, I didn't see which way in any of the hearings or anything like that. But I'll look into that.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it just looks like the pharmaceutical companies are looking for a loophole where they can charge whatever they want to charge and not save the consumer money. So I hope you do look at that very closely.
I would definitely.
Yeah. Thank you.
No problem. Obviously, you know, in unfortunate news, the Representative Wintle, I'm sure people have seen that in the news. You know, just hope that looks like he's going to get the help that he needs, and hopefully that will happen. So,
Now, how does that fit in with your philosophy on gun permits and stuff?
well, he never had a permit, so he chose to do it without getting the permit. So the bill that I put in to repeal the need to have a concealed weapons did not pertain to that because he just chose to do it already breaking the law. And as I said, you know, only the honest people are going to obey the laws, and people that want to break the laws are going to break the laws.
I mean, but this guy couldn't have gotten a permit very easily and been crazy? I mean, he's evidently, crazy is not the right word, but evidently he's got some issues, and he could have certainly gotten a permit.
Yes, he could have.
Pretty easy.
Yep, he could have got a permit.
But then you'd have him walking around packing a weapon and going up into the legislature with it. I guess.
But like I said, I mean, he didn't, you know, you're looking at, his whole entire life. Even the district attorney, just said, he just gave him he jump-started his car last week or the week before when a bunch of other people went by and didn't help him. So I mean, I know Fred, and the last few weeks have been, just bizarre, to say the least. I don't have any. It's an interesting situation that happened, but like I said, I mean, on the concealed weapons permit, he didn't follow that. So it just shows you, just because the law is there doesn't mean people are going to follow it. And generally speaking, I would rather the law-abiding, in situations like that, I would like the law-abiding citizens to be able to have it. So.
My thought is to loosen up the laws where persons such as this fellow could easily get a permit, have a concealed weapon, go into the Capitol building with it, and face someone down with it. I like to see that made a little bit more difficult than easier for a person to do that.
I'd rather have the law-abiding citizen be armed. I feel safer on that. But like I said, I mean, he was, he would have been able to get the permit before with no problem. now he can't possess a firearm under the bail stipulation, so.
Just so we can move this along,
Yeah,
so
we
we can
just-
get over to the
that's
school
it.
budget meeting,
We
we'll,
don't keep going for a second.
something you guys can continue to debate at
Sure.
a different time.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Aaron.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, new business, discuss vote to sign municipal grant application. This would be what Todd presented to us. I think one of the conversations we need to have is if we're interested in doing this, do we want to do it with a donation of our administrative cost, or would it be billed cost?
I will move that we sponsor the grant with in-kind administrative costs.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
All right, discussion?
That we're donating the in-kind.
Right, in kind.
Okay.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Next, discuss vote to approve liquor license renewal for Woody's Restaurant, and this is going to be the former 199 Secocas. We do not have to post this as a new liquor license because he's applying for it under the same LLC. So even though the business has changed names, the LLC that it's under remains the same. There was an inspection done and everything was done with the inspection was fine from the code enforcement office and the fire department. And I don't believe Pam didn't note any problems that we've had there, so it's a pleasure of the board.
Make a motion that we approve the application for the liquor license.
A second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Next, discuss vote to sign the bingo application for the Lions Club. This is going to be the annual bingo license. We haven't had any notes of any problems and whatnot, so it's pleasure.
Move we approve the bingo application for Lions Club.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in,
I think that the slot machines and the casinos are getting a percent, the state gets a percentage of that. I think that it's probably only right that we get a percentage of their profits too to support local government.
Would you like to make that
What
an
do you want,
amendment?
5% of the $300 a night that they get?
Or we'll donate it in kind.
all right, so all those in favor of applying the application? Okay. Next, committee appointments. We have one committee appointment this evening, and that would be for Dennis Abbott to Eco Maine Rep.
So move.
Correct, isn't that temporary?
Till we can find somebody, but you can't do it temporary, so.
Oh, you can't? Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Okay. And the timing of that worked out quite well because David was just getting ready to expire, so Pam made sure she filled it out for 2 years, Dennis.
As representative.
Yes.
We should probably clarify that he wasn't going to leave this earth when he expired.
Yeah.
Well, I might, but I'll be back to haunt you.
Next on the agenda is the sweeper trade-in, and we'll need to actually table that for next week. Milton was supposed to get some information to Pam before tonight. We had asked for their proposal in writing, and we didn't get that, so we'll tuck that away for next week. Moving on to old business, discuss vote on Hollis use of transfer station. A couple weeks ago, we met with the Hollis and Dayton boards at the transfer station to discuss their use. Hollis has since corresponded to us that they are opting not to continue use of the transfer station. The issue that we have is that the folks that purchase stickers for $15, those stickers are valid until December 31st. So our proposal to Hollis is that they were going to have to pay a per capita fee plus the stickers. So what do we do at this point as far as, do we allow those folks that purchase stickers to continue? Do we stop the use of Hollis transfer station, Hollis using the transfer station altogether or whatnot? David?
I would think we'd honor the stickers that have been sold, not sell anymore. And those individuals that have stickers can continue to come in to the 31st of December and pay our fee structure. And at the end of December, then that's it.
Any other comments? So is that your motion?
My only question is, why would we have had them on a calendar date instead of like ours that are on a municipal or fiscal year date?
It was just easier,
Oh, okay.
you know.
Well, we talked about that
I think
in the
we did.
board.
I think it was discussed.
It was, and part of the reasoning was we didn't want Hollis trying to come in and get stickers at the same time as Waterboro residents.
All 200 of them.
Yep. And we as a board agreed that the calendar, to go by calendar
That's fine.
year, so it doesn't all fall on
I
Clint.
must have been not here that night. I can't remember that one.
Was that seconded?
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor? So we'll need to get a letter off to Hollis, just letting them know that we're not selling them any more stickers, but we'll honor the stickers that are out there.
Don't they have a supply of stickers at their office that they were selling as well?
So we need
So
to
we
get those
probably
back.
ought to get those returned? Or they purchased them, ask them to destroy them or something? Because
We have a list of who has purchased one.
I'd get them back.
Yeah, just get to any that they've got, just bring them back, because we're not gonna sell anymore.
Which, really, I mean, second thought here, so what if we sell them? They've only got 6 months left. Somebody wants to buy one, let them buy it.
Well, I don't think we can now, because part of your motion was that
I
we're
know
not
it
selling
Well,
was,
we
but-
can reconsider.
I guess I should have made the motion that we will not sell any after the 31st of December. Does that not make sense? Now, let's say somebody comes in and wants to buy a sticker for July 1st.
Well, I think Hollis, and I understand that they couldn't do this because it came up too close to their town meeting, I think probably to raise those funds. But in a sense, they're not, they elected not to participate at the level that we thought helped pay our costs. So by taking more people, we're essentially putting that off for 6 months. So, you know, I think in a way
Well, I
the
mean,
motion kind of works.
I mean, we're into that now. We've sold, what, all of 200 stickers to Hollis? How many stickers have we sold to Hollis residents? They referred to 200 in their letter or something of that nature.
We're
Right.
getting very close to that now.
Okay, but all I'm saying is that how many residents are in, or how many households are in Hollis? And you've got something less than 200 that are coming up here to use the transfer station. I mean, there was certainly, Hollis's letter had some valid points. Number one,
Yeah.
we were trying to do something in the 11th hour, basically, of the budget season, which I understand that they can't do. And they're looking at it as, hey, I got 200 households that are up there now, why should I commit so that all of my, I mean, today, the program is every household down there could come up and buy a permit. They're not doing that, right? So we're asking them to make a significant contribution to the operation here for their entire town. So I guess, you know, if I was in their shoes, I might see it the same way. But anyway. But
So-
I think you're right. If the dates on the stickers are, you know, December 31st, if you sold 10 more stickers, really,
It's not gonna make or break anybody.
no, because they're paying for what they're disposing of any. They're not disposing of anything and they're free.
No.
Either way, if you want to change it out.
Well, I just feel, you know, I mean, it's not like,
Well, I mean, part of the reason that we said we wanted to start charging a per capita fee is because even though we're collecting money for what's being taken into the transfer station, they're not compensating us for the wear and tear on our facility, the wear and tear on our equipment, staff that has to be there. If we have another community that's potentially looking, we haven't heard from Dayton yet, so if we have another community that's potentially looking at coming in, then we might be looking at an increased burden down there. And I think we kind of took all of that into consideration when we originally said, this is what we're going to do for a process, this is why we're going to charge per capita. So we can say, maybe it's not costing us dollar-wise, but it is costing us in the maintenance of our resource.
Well, I think it's costing us dollar-wise too, you know. Is there sentiment enough to reconsider this last vote and say if people want to come in from Hollis and still buy, they can, but they have to understand they have X number of months left. And just keep it clean.
Yeah, I'm fine with the motion the way it
Okay.
is.
Well, are we gonna,
Are you interested in, I guess before, should we have, if we were to do a motion to reconsider, is there any interest in changing?
well, I can't see knowingly going into charging somebody full price for a half-year service. That would bother me. Because we're, it's not like, something came up unexpectedly. We're aware of this, and
But we do that to our people.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Somebody comes in today, there's 2 months left, they get to have a dump sticker today, they're gonna pay the $10. And they're gonna use it for a month and a half, and then they're gonna get a new one. So,
we're
So-
not terminating that service either, but
no, true.
So is there an interest to reconsider? John?
I mean, you go through the process and I'm fine with it as it is.
Clint, how do you feel? You're running the show.
I think as far as the town of Waterboro is concerned, I would go till the end of December. And then I would stop it at that point.
So you're saying sell stickers until the end?
Right.
Okay, seeing how I voted in the affirmative, I move that we reconsider the most recent vote that we took.
Okay. Is there a second to
I'll
that?
second that.
All those in favor? Okay, so is there a new motion?
Move to honor the Hollis use of the transfer station through the purchase of transfer station stickers, which expire on 12/31/11,
That's right.
right? And we would honor any of those stickers that have been sold or would be sold through the end of the program. 12/31 is over.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Okay. Phew. Others, I'd entertain a motion to sign warrants for bills and payroll.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor? The minutes, entertain a motion to sign the minutes of 5/17.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, and we have concealed weapons applications, pending decisions, public service announcements, performance bonds, Tom's already gone, and committee self-evals, the week's action list. We'll still need to get a letter off to Hollis that will honor their stickers until December 31st.
I would like an update or report from the various departments in town on the level of the status of meeting OSHA's guidelines that have been given them or presenting to us, pending issues for next week. We're gonna get visited here shortly, I assume, right?
They're supposed
At
to.
some point,
They're
okay?
supposed to.
Are we ready for the visit?
Is that something Nancy can do, or you're looking for each department?
Yeah, I would think a note would be sent out saying, where are you on meeting the guidelines or qualifications of OSHA? I just don't see any sense in us paying fines and we can avoid them, if there are any out there.
Okay. We also have the sidewalk sweeper on the agenda next week, if we get the document by Friday. Next week is typically a workshop night for us. We had talked about setting that as a budget review for any spending freezes, necessity for special town meeting, and looking at moving any funds around. So we can have that as our workshop, and I know that one of the things that I want to see for that workshop next Tuesday is an updated list of accounts printed on Tuesday that includes all of the journal entries that need to be made. I think we have to have that, because if we're gonna start looking at, do we need to move money around, we need to know exactly what's there. We should have something about the audit as well, right?
Yeah, I sent you out an email that I received from them today.
Yep.
We, just a sticky point for me. Did we get a report from the EDC of when the signs are gonna be up?
Yep. It was
Seems how
actually,
they've got 2 weeks left in the,
it was actually talked about, and there were some members that wanted to hire somebody to get it done, and there was others that felt that it could still be done by volunteers. And there are a couple of members that are planning on getting out and putting the signs out. I think it's a matter of getting schedules together. So,
well, with all due respect, it's been a matter of getting schedules together for
I know.
52 weeks.
I supported
50.
hiring somebody to do it.
Yeah, because the money disappears
Yep.
July 1st. There's
Yep.
no funding.
What else do we have for next week? We also need an executive session for a legal opinion.
So Tammy Jo, based on your comments, are we saying that the expenditure revenue report that we received on the 20th did not include
I don't
the
know,
journal?
Yes, they're in there.
including the fire department journals?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now, is this executive session going to be the beginning or end of the
Do it at the tail end.
tail end? Okay.
Okay. Items needing signature, warrants for bills and payroll, the minutes of 5/17, concealed weapons applications, and the ratio declaration and reimbursement application. Reminders, Wednesday, May 25th, 7 p.m., the Land Trust is meeting at the Town Hall. Thursday, May 26th, noon, senior luncheons at the Snowmobile Club. Thursday, May 26th, 6:30 p.m., the Old Home Days Committee is meeting at the Town Hall. Saturday, May 28th at 8:30 is the cribbage tournament at Town Hall. And Tuesday, May 31st at 6 p.m., Selectmen's meeting workshop at the Town Hall Annex. Also at 7 o'clock this evening, the vote for the school budget started at the middle school. So if anybody's interested in voting on the school budget, you're going to want to head over to the middle school. And with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? All those in favor? Good night and happy